The debate over debating is finally over. Joe Biden and Donald Trump have agreed to 2 presidential debates. Yeah, my friend, these 2 men last debated back in October, right, of 2020. We all remember gathering with our friends and families on the couch to say, oh, God, I hope this doesn't happen again in 4 years.
Yes. Well, most Democrats really don't want Joe Biden debate because they know that he's not up to it. They think it'll be a big loser for him and that they'll have to eject him as their candidate when he experiences a miserable fail. Seems predictable. It might be sad. They might feel sorry for him. Oh, what a time it is. Let me get to more on the presidential debates. Now allegedly scheduled. CNN, corrupt CNN, June 27th. ABC, fake news, corrupt ABC, September 10th. I just explained why the Jake Tapper, Dana Bash, CNN, Donna Brazil construct is corrupt. Democrat Party machine in charge of everything like in the Soviet Union. And ABC, of course, last night where David Muir and Mary Bruce reported, oh, Joe Biden challenged Donald Trump to a debate, and now he's stuck. He's going to have to debate Joe Biden, who's so good and so smart. It's all a big lie. No, Donald Trump has been challenging Joe Biden to a debate for ages now. Let's get back to some of the audio that we have on the topic. You may recall Howard Stern sat down with Joe Biden because he doesn't do any real interviews, and Howard Stern embarrassed himself, sucking up and being a sycophant, and the subject of a debate came up.
I don't know if you're going to debate your opponent.
I am somewhere. I don't know when. I'm happy to debate him.
That was really the first time that he said, yeah, we're going to debate. And then they felt trapped. They're trapped. And also they're looking at their poll numbers and they're losing Hispanic voters, or as he calls them, Latinx voters. And they're losing black voters, especially black men. They're losing young voters, 18 to 29. They're in big trouble with and that's this is their sweet spot, right? Supposed to be black voters because who, when you're black, wouldn't vote for the Confederate States of America again, honestly. But Joe Biden was asked about debating Trump walking by. He was in the White House, and it was an almost nothing thing. Nobody recognized said, hey, are you going to debate Trump? Set it up, Joe Biden said. And they always make sure the microphone's not too close to him. That was just 7 days ago, a week ago today that happened. Set it up, he said, so they're getting a little trapped. President Trump was asked that day, hey, Joe Biden just asked about a debate, said, set it up.
Let's set it up right now. I'm ready to go anywhere that you are. Anytime, anywhere, any place. Let's go, Joe. Let's debate.
Well, the Democrats and the media, but I repeat myself, took full advantage of President Trump's wide open offer anytime, any place. And they said, okay, at our house with our people in charge, Jake Tapper, Democrat Capitol Hill staffer, and Dana Bash, ex-husband, is an Obama administration official. No problem there. And we'll do it at CNN Center with no audience, which they all agree will advantage Joe Biden and disadvantage President Trump. So they're stacking the deck as usual. President Trump mocking Joe Biden back in April. He had an empty podium next to him, and he's like, hey, let's have a debate. Here's an empty podium. Joe Biden could come here. We could debate.
We have an empty podium right here to my right. You know what that is? That's for Joe Biden. I'm trying to get him to debate. I'm calling on Crooked Joe to debate anytime, any place. We'll do it anywhere you want, Joe.
Well, and it turns out at CNN Center in Atlanta, and with Democrat Party operatives being the so-called moderators posing as journalists, stacking the deck, and they're all smirking today because they feel like, and it's somewhat right, they trapped Trump. Anytime, anywhere? Okay. Let's do it at DNC headquarters with nobody around, and we'll be in charge of editing, and we'll be in charge of the questions, and we're going to cut off the microphones, and it's really about cutting off President Trump's microphones so that there can be no back and forth. President Trump will likely defeat them on that front. But let's go to soundbite number 9. Yesterday at the White House, the President of the United States, still hard to say, Joe Biden, was meeting with the Joint Chiefs of Staff, but they don't have that guy with the transgender thing who called General Lee anymore in China. But still, with the Joint Chiefs of Staff at the White House, and Peter Doocy, and only Peter Doocy, yelled a question at Biden about the debate. And how about debating RFK? How about including RFK Jr. in the debate, right? And you can almost not hear anything because they got the White House press staff shouting at the press to get out of the room, because they know Joe Biden can't answer questions. Now, Doocy, they're all being forced out of the room. Doocy is yelling, Trump wants 4 debates. You've agreed to 2 with your fluffers at CNN and your fluffers at ABC. President Trump says, let's do 4 debates, 1 with Fox News hosting, presumably 1 with Newsmax hosting. And Biden didn't answer that. And then Doocy's yelling, what about RFK Jr. being included in the debates? And Biden didn't answer that. And he looked like a crazy person trying to get to a bowl of candy. Honestly, he is not up to the task of being president, and all these people are covering up for him. The entirety of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, there are 6 members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Chief of Staff of the Army, the Air Force, the Commandant of the Marine Corps, the Chief of Naval Operations, then the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and the Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. 6 men who are 4-star, all of them are 4 stars in rank, and they should all come out like 7 days in May or something and say, this Commander-in-Chief is not up to being Commander-in-Chief. We've seen it again and again. That'd be a great thing. And then Peter Doocy, and only Peter Doocy, asked Cringe Jean-Pierre during the briefing about, pretty much the same thing. Hey, how about debating with 4 debates and Fox News hosting, well, not all your friendly fluffers.
Should we see this sudden offer from the president to debate as a signal that you guys realize you need to change the subject after some really bad polling?
Look, this is a president that has had a pretty successful especially legislative tenure in the first 3.5 years.
He has?
And has delivered on many things that are popular to
Name
the
one.
American people.
Like what? $1.5 trillion on infrastructure, and nobody's seen, is there a new airport or we're building a port for Hamas in Gaza. That's about and $2.3 billion at JFK Airport in New York. But white people need not apply because you racists, going back to Jefferson Davis days, you racists have made sure that no contracts will go to white people and businesses owned by white people, because the Democrat Party continues with its racism. Peter Doocy kept trying.
Who is going to stand in during the prep for Donald Trump?
Who's going to stand in? Do you want to stand in for Donald Trump? Do you want to do that? I can connect you with the campaign. That might be fun for you.
Supposed to be cute.
Actually, so you're saying I can go debate Joe Biden behind the scenes?
You know what?
As long as I want.
I think that might be fun for both of you.
Yeah, that little cutesy stuff. By the way, Cringe Jean-Pierre is an LGBTQ charter member, and she used to live with her girlfriend, Suzanne Malveaux, who was a CNN White House correspondent, because when I say that they're all in bed together, I mean that they're all in bed together. Lawrence O'Donnell is a severely mentally ill person, and he's got a television show. They pay him millions of dollars on MSDNC, and nobody watches, but that doesn't matter. Lawrence O'Donnell going nuts last night on the debate, and he's like, oh, no, I don't know why he thinks this. He's making things up. He's got a fertile imagination, and he's a self-described socialist, by the way. because the Cold War didn't end; it just moved here. The Soviet Union is the Democratic Party in 2024 in the United States of America. Lawrence O'Donnell, proud socialist, talking about the debates, and he thinks it's, oh no, Joe Biden will be hobbled because he won't be able to ask Donald Trump about his indictments that the Democrats have ginned up falsely.
If there is a hung jury in the Manhattan trial and the district attorney announces that he is going to pursue a retrial of Donald Trump on those same charges, then Joe Biden won't be able to talk about that case either. A so-called debate that was already going to be ridiculous is going to be even more preposterous. It will be the theater of the absurd. Joe Biden won't just have one hand tied behind his back.
Kinky.
He will be put in a legal straitjacket.
It's a complete
and the
lie.
unfair benefit to Donald Trump is enormous.
A complete fabrication, a ridiculous fabrication, and just absurd on its face. This commie moron liar, stop the hammering, is out of his mind. And they just make this, oh no, oh the poor disadvantage that the disadvantage. Joe Biden is at a disadvantage, but it's because his brain died a long time ago. He's got Abby Normal's brain, and Lawrence O'Donnell is concerned that there might be a hung jury. That would be terrible.
They said you was hung. And they was right.
See, the jury could be, it's a terrible thing. Lawrence O'Donnell, he's very concerned, and he thinks this is America, we don't need debates, because there have never been debates, and most presidents never debated.
We will see the latest version of the standard TV debate format, which is already problematic to the point of absurdity. I've seen every televised debate in presidential history. That's how few of them there have been.
That's how tedious you are.
Most presidents were elected without debating anyone. That's how unnecessary presidential debates are.
Yeah, Thomas Jefferson, no presidential debates. There have been presidential debates as long as there's been electricity, and there were the Lincoln-Douglas debates, and there were. He's a lion Sacagawea, and he's a severely mentally ill person.
I am not a liberal who's so afraid of the word that I had to change my name to progressive.
I'm not either.
Liberals amuse me. I am a socialist. I live to the extreme left.
Great.
The extreme left of you mere liberals, okay?
Of you mere liberals. That's, and they're all very pleased by that. The commies are here. They're coming for the children. Just amazing stuff. David Axelrod is a former news reporter in Chicago who became a Democrat operative. It very often goes the other way. You're a Democrat operative, then you become a fake journalist. He was a fake, corrupt journalist, then he became a Democrat Party operative. And he was on the television on MSDNC. He was on CNN last night, and he's, hey, no audience because the Biden people dictated the terms.
They also, I thought, negotiated very, very wisely. Trump was eager for it. He kept saying, I'll debate him anytime, anywhere, and they took him up on it. And now they've got a debate that's not going to be a Roman Coliseum, but in a television studio without an audience, which disadvantages Trump. And it's early, which gives you a chance to recover if the debate is not good.
Now, Axelrod, who's a political weasel, of course, got it right, though, that they took advantage of anytime, anywhere, and they said, okay, and you said anytime, anywhere. We're going to do it in total DNC turf. We're going to stack the deck everywhere with our fake journalist moderators. We're going to make sure that we create every advantage for Biden and every disadvantage for Trump, and no audience, and CNN and ABC and in studio. And stack the deck in every way imaginable, because anytime, anywhere, hey, they took him up on it. That's what Axelrod said, and he's right. So on that level, and that's an important level, it was poorly played by the Trump campaign, and the Trump camp should have put themselves on better ground. Hey, your feet are your foundation, supporting your every step, all the way through life's adventures. But are you tired of settling for shoes that promise comfort and fail to deliver? Introducing G-Defy shoes with VersaShock technology. While ordinary shoe brands rely on EVA foam soles for cushioning, G-Defy shoes go above and beyond with superior shock absorption and trampoline-like energy return. G-Defy shoes help provide the relief you deserve from foot pain, knee pain, ankle pain, or back discomfort. When you choose G-Defy, you're not just getting shoes, you're getting a complete solution for your comfort needs. Each pair comes with 2 free supportive orthotics that can help align your body, plus special lateral stabilizers embedded in the shoes to help improve your stride or your run. And as a listener to this show, you're obviously wise, intelligent, well-informed. We have a special offer just for you. You visit gdefy.com today, and you're going to receive $30 off your order of $150 or more with the code CHRIS. That's G-D-E-F-Y, G-Defy, like gravity defy, gdefy.com. And don't forget to use the code CHRIS for $30 off your order of $150 or more. Experience ultimate comfort with G-Defy shoes. Visit gdefy.com today. Yeah, the Democrats and the media in bed all the time, always, doing what they can for the Democrat Party. It's a corrupt world we live in. It's better to be pro-American, be on the side of truth, justice, and the American way. All right, let's go to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to Zenon, calling from Rockford, Illinois. Zenon, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hello?
Hello, Zenon. How are you?
Yeah, I love your show. I don't want to exaggerate, but you have the greatest radio show on earth. I get up extra early just to listen to you.
That's very nice to hear. I thank you very much for that. Honestly, I appreciate that.
All right. So what I wanted to ask about was the polls consistently again and again show Trump ahead in Michigan and all sorts of states. But a bunch of people in the betting markets, 2-1, are betting on Biden instead of Trump. Well, why are they doing that? Do they want to lose? What's going on here, Chris?
The Democrats have all kinds of tricks up their sleeves. They have all sorts of methods that are secretive, that are behind the curtain and double dealing and under the table and mail out ballots. And you're calling from Rockford, Illinois. In Chicago, famously the Kennedy family used their money to buy the state of Illinois in 1960 for John F. Kennedy, and the unions in West Virginia and so on. The Democrats, the odds makers know that the Democrats have lots and lots of dirty tricks, lots of nefarious means at their disposal. And so when you cut, it's like Donald Rumsfeld's known knowns and known unknowns and the unknown unknowns. When you factor in all of the trickiness, the Democrats are dangerous. I tell you, we've still got a lot of audio, a lot of things to get to. But I want to go to calls also because great Americans are calling into the show. I do want to say story, Fox News headline, 148 House Democrats voted against bill to deport migrants who assault police. House passes Detain and Deport Illegal Aliens Who Assault Cops Act. I assume that becomes an acronym because they all have to become acronyms, right? A bill aimed at booting illegal immigrants, that's illegal aliens, out of the U.S. if they assault a police officer. Passed the House of Representatives on Wednesday evening last night. It's one of several pieces of legislation that House Republican leaders are putting up for a vote this week as part of National Police Week. It is National Police Week in the United States of America. That really upsets Democrats. They prefer National Transgender Week. The bill passed with a 265 to 148 vote, with 148 Democrats voting against deporting illegal aliens that violently assault the police. And actually, 54 Democrats voted with the Republican Party, but 148 Democrats did not vote with the Republican Party because they're anti-police and pro-illegal alien. The bill is called the Detain and Deport Illegal Aliens Who Assault Cops Act, and it's led by Congressman Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey, who you may remember hosted President Trump at Wildwood, New Jersey last Saturday at the gigantic rally there. He said in February when the bill was introduced, there is no reason that an illegal alien who attacks our law enforcement should remain in our country. 148 Democrats in the House of Representatives disagree. That shows zero respect for our rule of law, for our institutions, and they will not be positive contributors to society. Did you see, 46% of illegal aliens that came in under Biden have no jobs. They don't want jobs. They're just gang members and drug dealers and human traffickers. And this bill was brought up because of the illegal alien Venezuelan gang members, 7 of them, that violently assaulted members of the NYPD near Times Square in New York City. And the Democrats just cut a deal with 6 of them where they get very modest, very minor sentences for being illegal aliens as Venezuelan gang members in the country illegally, ganging up on and violently attacking police officers in New York City. And the Democrats are saying, well, maybe you do, maybe a year for that, and no talk of deporting them at all. Of course, you can deport them now. They'll just walk back in, and Biden will give them a new plane ticket and send them someplace else because Biden is not on our side. But 148 Democrats voted against it because they're not on the side of civilization anymore. It's a tragic reality, but a reality nonetheless. Just extraordinary stuff. You betcha. The Democrat Party. Aren't they amazing? Yeah, so they violently attacked the police. I told a story day before yesterday here on the radio about a young woman who went to an abortion clinic in Washington, D.C., and they tried to block, she and other protesters tried to block the entrance to the abortion clinic. And the Associated Press told a story. It was especially tragic because a woman showed up at the abortion clinic that day, and she was in pain because she was in labor. She was in the middle of giving birth when she arrived at the abortion clinic. And the Associated Press and other news media said, oh, isn't this tragic? These people shouldn't. And the woman was given 4 years and 9 months in prison for praying and singing hymns in front of an abortion clinic when a woman in labor was showing up to kill the baby that would survive on its own. But never mind that. And the Democrats are, kill it, harvest its organs. Give me its teeth. Does it have teeth? I'll make a necklace out of the teeth. Democrats are rather ghoulish on these things. And she got 4 years and 9 months. These illegal alien Venezuelan gang members that violently ganged up on NYPD members, they might get maybe a year. Reduced sentence. They're out on bail. One of them is out on bail when he committed another crime and was arrested again. And still they don't want him to go to jail for 4 years and 9 months, like the woman praying at an abortion clinic. Enrique Torrio of the Proud Boys, a pro-Western, pro-American group, nonviolent group. 4 of them have been stabbed in Washington, D.C. by Black Lives Matter. But never mind that. Enrique Torrio, African-American, Cuban-American, he was given 22 years in prison for his involvement in January 6th. And he was in a hotel room in Baltimore on January 6th. 22 years in prison. The political enemies of the Democrat Party. This is like the Soviet Union, ladies and gentlemen. Lavrenti Beria had nothing on these people. Now, with that said, and since we're talking about the police, let's go to line 3. Let's go to John calling from Illinois. John, who was at the Democratic Convention in 1968 in Chicago, Illinois, where John was a member of the Chicago Police Department at the time when the lefties and the spoiled brats of the rich and famous attacked the police there, and they still blame the police for it, don't they, John?
Chris, that they do. Really, very, very, very little has changed over the last 56 years. At the time, I was a young policeman. I was 24 years old in 1968. And unfortunately for me, I was also a member of the National Guard. So the state took precedence over the city. So my unit got activated, and I spent most of the week of the convention camped out in our pup tents in Washington Park. which is on the south side for those of you not familiar with the city of Chicago. So anyway, our night to shine, Chris, was Thursday night. That was the night that Hubert Humphrey was nominated. So we got moved down to 18th in Michigan and locked and loaded and put on our gas masks. And the protesters were hit with tear gas at 18th in Michigan as they were trying to march on the convention, which at the time was at the amphitheater, which was on South Halstead Street. It's no longer there, Chris. It's been knocked down many years ago. But anyway, so we gassed them, turned them around, and sent them back to Grant Park. So my little unit got redeployed in front of the Conrad Hilton Hotel, which was the headquarters hotel for the Democratic Party convention at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So we're sitting out there, Chris. It's about, probably between 10:15 and maybe 10:20 in the evening. Everything is dark. Everything is quiet. The protesters are over in Grant Park, smoking weed, singing with Peter, Paul, and Mary, doing whatever they were doing, but everything was quiet. I looked behind me, and there was about a 3-foot-high plywood platform. On this platform, they had the TV cameras, and they had lights, but the lights were off. Everything was dark and quiet. Well, we'd been there for a few minutes, and all of a sudden, Chris, the lights came on, and this guy from one of the TV stations gets up, and he's like a pastor in church. He raises his hands towards the sky. The people in the park leaped to their feet. They started throwing rocks, bottles, bags of urine, bags of fecal material at us. And I was too concerned with my own safety, dodging the incoming missiles, to look back. But I know damn well what happened. The TV cameras were grinding away, showing the American people the riots on that Thursday night in Grant Park. Chris, this was not reporting news. This was making news.
Wow.
But this was our news media. And this was 56 years ago.
And I got to tell you, I didn't know that about the urine and the feces, which they've been doing in the last couple of years at the police, too. I didn't know that went back to 1968, I've got to say. And, William Ayers, Barack Obama's buddy, the tenured college professor and terrorist, William Ayers, he was in the middle of all of that. And his father was the CEO of Commonwealth Edison or something like that. He was a rich kid. And these spoiled brat rich kids. Now, you're a member of the Chicago Police Department and the National Guard. And as you're 24 years old, and as a member of the CPD, you're called up the National Guard. So you got to take off your police uniform, put on your guard uniform, and you end up at the same place. That is a wild story, man. You should be a movie. There should be a movie about you. That's an amazing story you have.
Chris, this is a story that over the last 56 years, I have retold maybe 5 or 6 times. No, absolutely no more. It's one of those things. You experience it, and you just keep your mouth shut. I mean, it's not worth, it's not worth making anything like that public. However, in light of what's going to happen this summer at the convention, I'm sure that my young brothers and sisters who are now members of the CPD are going to have their hands full.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right about that, John. I don't think there's any doubt. And I don't know if you were listening earlier when I played the audio, the lefties gathering at the Teamsters headquarters in Chicago, chanting death to America in Farsi, right, in Persian, chanting death to Israel. There are radicals, and I think there are more radicals now than there were then. And they're more organized now than they were then. And it is all the Democrat Party. It is 100% the Democrat Party that is doing this to the country. And they're like our own Hamas. They're out of control. John, you are the greatest. I'm really glad that you called in. What a great story. And you tell the story very well, too.
Chris, I spent a little over 3 years with the Chicago Police Department. I also had my degree at the time, and I was also attending law school.
Wow.
So I worked days and midnights for the department, and then I went to school evenings. And I had enough sense after the convention to say I had enough of city life, I had enough of law enforcement, and I had enough of the protests at that time. I got out. I left the department on 15 April of 1969. It took me a while to find the right employment opportunity, but my support is still with the police, Chris. They are the thin blue line between us and anarchy.
Absolutely
and
true.
It was that way then, and it's that way today. If anything, Chris, the difference is our bosses back in those days supported us. Mayor Daley took no prisoners. He was hated by the media.
Yeah,
because that Chicago was his city. He loved the city, and he wanted only the best for the city of Chicago. And he could see that these pro-communist protesters coming in were adverse to what Mayor Daley believed in.
That's a fact. And that's what they were. There's no doubt about it, John. And they were pro-North Vietnam and pro-Viet Cong and pro-Soviet, and they were not on our side, and they're still not on our side. This is the left, the real left, and they are more numerous and they are more mainstream. I mean, that generation grew up to be Nancy Pelosi and the rest. Speaking of which, I saw that the guy that hit Nancy Pelosi's husband in the head with a hammer is scheduled to be sentenced tomorrow, and that they're asking for 40 years in prison for the man that hit Nancy Pelosi's husband in the head with a hammer. Federal prosecutors request 40-year sentence for a man who attacked Pelosi's husband with a hammer, NBC Bay Area is reporting, and the sentencing is supposed to take place tomorrow. That came up just in the middle of this because it is that generation. Just crazy. John, I thank you very much for the call. And I'll tell you what, Sebastian Gorka is texting me that you've got a great voice, too. You've got an incredible voice.
You know, I've been told that I could have had a second career in radio, believe it or not, back through the years, Chris.
So you became a lawyer, I guess.
No. I know. I had enough. I
had enough of that, too.
Lawyers did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah,
good for you.
Thanks, but no thanks.
God bless you, John. God bless you. And what a great call. What a wonderful call. I'm glad you didn't become a lawyer either. Just wonderful. You know what? Let's take a break here because I've run out the clock again, because John is such a great call and had such a great story to tell and has such a great radio voice. Good stuff, John. I hope to find you in Chicago one day and buy you a couple of beers. I owe them to you. You know, my stepfather was a reporter at the 68 convention in Chicago. My mother was pregnant with my little brother David at the 68 convention in Chicago. Had to run for blocks while pregnant to get away from the mob that was showering debris on everyone, because the left kills and destroys. The left is here. The left is the Democrat Party. It's the media. I have 5 hours of content every day. Cocaine found in hallway of Capitol Hill Police Headquarters. Sure. Cocaine. Bag of cocaine, heavily trafficked hallway, Washington, D.C., U.S. Capitol Police Headquarters. And it's not the floor on which you'll find evidence. So it apparently fell out of the pocket or backpack of a visitor to the U.S. Capitol Police Headquarters on Capitol Hill. Not a problem. I mean, check the camera, see if Hunter made a pass through there, of course. Let's go to Nancy Pelosi on the debates, because Nancy Pelosi, well, she is, and, you know, her husband, the guy that hit her husband in the head, is going to be sentenced tomorrow to probably 40 years in prison, since that's what you can hit police in New York City and you get a free pass, you get a ride to the beach. But, you know, you hit a Democrat, and that can be another problem. Nancy Pelosi.
I myself would never recommend going on a stage with Donald Trump, but the president has decided that's what he wants to do. I think the format he is suggesting is a good one.
It's a good format. It's been stacked against Trump and in favor of Biden, is what she's saying, with CNN and Jake Tapper and Dana Bash and ABC and no audience, and turn the microphone off when Trump stops talking and all that stuff. Chunk Todd is another former Democrat Senate campaign staffer. His wife is a big Bernie Sanders person. Her company's taken in millions of dollars from the Bernie Sanders campaign. It's an extremely corrupt city. And here's Chunk Todd. He's corrupt. He's NBC News.
I think if you've ever spent a lot of time watching Robert Kennedy Jr. speak, I think if you're Joe Biden, you're going to want him on the debate stage.
Why?
I think there will be a point in the fall that they will actually see that as an asset. I'm sort of in the minority on this.
Well, let's just face it.
But I think that
he has a vocal issue.
He does.
It's an ailment.
And I think it will weirdly help Biden look less, any of his issues come across less.
That was Andrea Mitchell back there. See, Chunk wants RFK Jr. up on the stage because Chunk thinks that RFK will look bad and he doesn't speak well, and Andrea Mitchell says he's got a vocal issue. Chunk says, well, yeah, I think that will make Joe Biden look better because he'll look strong by comparison, and RFK Jr. will look weak, and he won't have any Secret Service protection because the Democrats won't give it to him. Pretty amazing stuff. Your Democrat Party. I am telling you. Whoo! Let's soundbite number 19. Carolina Levitt, who is with the Trump campaign on the debate.
Joe Biden went on the Howard Stern show and committed to a debate. His team was not happy about that. There was a lot of reporting because his handlers know he's too weak to stand up there for 2 hours and debate President Trump. But they were backed into a corner, and yesterday they finally pulled the trigger. They didn't have a choice. What were they going to do? Back out?
And their poll numbers are looking bad in key swing states, and they're desperate. But I still think, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, as you know, if you listen to the radio broadcast regularly. But I think Lee Harvey Oswald shot John F. Kennedy is just a communist who loved Cuba. Now the Democrats love Cuba. But I think they might be looking for an exit for Joe Biden and thinking, he'll botch the debate so badly that before the Democratic convention, it'll give him time to dump him.